Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Business Forum. I am Felix Adupa, your host. I'm going to take you to this program, and I really want to say thank you for tuning into Up Channel Kenya. We are coming from our studio here right now in Nairobi. We are still discussing about the roles of professionals in construction industry. Last week I had Mr. Alfred Alvala, a quantity surveyor, and Mr. Gad Opio, an architectural engineer. Today I have another wonderful guest here on the studio, Mr. Engineer Nathan Watangala. He's a CEO of Ngasi Consulting Engineers. How are you?
I'm fine, John.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I have also my resident guest, Mr. Alfred Alvala, the CEO of Miradi Consultancy, and he's also an honorable treasurer for AAK Kenya. How are you, Alfred?
I'm very fine, thank you, and thank you for inviting us to come into your studio.
Welcome. Our viewers, we are going to discuss a number of issues. You can send in your comments, anything you want to know. Our Facebook page is at Up Channel Kenya, and our Twitter handle is also at Up Channel Kenya. You can also send us our SMS on our number that is just there on your screen. Make sure you send your comment, your name, and where you are located. To go faster, I want to ask Mr. Alvala, the CEO of Miradi Consultant. Alvala, I want you to inform us the proper procedure one should take when I want to carry out a construction. What do I do? How do I approach, and what should I do in general? How to hire a quantity surveyor in general?
Thank you, Felix. When you have the idea of wanting to do construction or development, you want to develop either an office block or a residential house or whatever construction you want to come up with, you have ideas in your mind. So you need to get a consultant, say an architect or a quantity surveyor or an engineer,
yes,
and then discuss with this particular consultant. You will be able to tell this consultant, look, I desire to put up, say, let me use a residential house as an example. I want to put up a residential house.
Yes.
They'll ask you what type of residential. Is it 2 bedrooms? Is it 3 bedrooms? Is it a maisonette? Is it a bungalow? And they will be taking down notes.
Yes.
As they write, as you say it, they'll be writing it down like an essay, so to speak. So they're writing all what you are speaking, and you tell them everything. The kitchen, I want this size. The bedrooms, I want them to look like this. The living room, I want. So you tell them everything that is in your mind, in your heart. They'll also may ask you several questions to clarify areas. Where is the project? Where is the site? Can we go and visit the site and see how it is? After they have gotten all that one, they will now come and design.
Yes.
They'll now design, write it down, translating the story you told them into pictorial appearance.
Yes.
Then it is from there that now you look at it and say, no, I don't like this part. I like everything, but this part adjust, or I like everything, or I don't like it at all. Can you modify this and that until you agree to whatever? So when the architect has designed like that, he will now push it over to the other consultants.
Okay. Engineer Matalanga, I want you to tell us, how does one become a structural engineer? Where do they train? And what is the difference between these various engineers? Because you hear civil engineer, you hear this is a physical planner engineer, tomorrow you hear this architectural engineer, so many engineers, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand this is a mechanical engineer, this is a water engineer. What are the differences, and how all those engineers, how do they become engineers in those different names?
Yes, thank you very much, John.
Felix.
Felix.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Felix. For one to become an engineer when you are in school, you have to be a science student,
Yes.
mathematics and physics.
Mathematics, huwezi kukosa mathematics.
No, you have to be mathematics is very essential
Okay.
for you to be an engineer.
Yes.
And then and also good in sciences.
So any child who is inspiring to be an engineer must make sure that he's perfect in mathematics
Mathematics and the sciences.
and sciences.
Then after school, now we have the 844 system. After the Kenya Secondary Certificate of Education,
Yes.
you choose to go to the university
Yes.
to study engineering. There are many engineering courses that you can do in Kenya.
Yes.
From what you have said, there is civil engineering, there is mechanical engineering, there is electrical engineering, there's now mechatronic engineering.
Yes.
Those are locally available. Abroad, you can also go to do many other engineering, like is it the aeronautical engineering? We still don't have it locally. Aeronautical engineering, the engineering to do with the repair of
Can you
planes.
elaborate that one? In fact, it's my first time. I must confess,
Yes.
it's my first time to hear that kind of engineering.
Aeronautical engineering,
Yes.
to do with the with the aircrafts.
Okay.
Yes, Now, civil engineering,
Yes.
you talked mainly about structure. You asked me about structural engineering.
Yes.
The basic course is actually civil engineering, where you go and you learn civil. The initial civil engineers were military people, because of the time of the war.
Yes.
They had to build infrastructure for the military to access places.
Yes.
Like shelter, to do bridges, and they were then to serve the civil,
Yes.
the civil service. So they were called civil engineers. With time, the profession has metamorphosized into specialized areas. Like now, I talked about electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and what you had, aeronautical engineering.
Yes, yes.
Today, most universities, the course takes 5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you want to be a structural engineer, you will then do another specialized course to
In
do it.
structural engineering.
Yes, but you first have to do civil engineering.
Yes.
Then you either, from your experience, from your practice, you can branch into either structural engineering, which is to do with the strength of the structures. Like if you were talking, Kiosa Luvala talked about buildings. When the architect has designed the space around a building,
Yes.
the engineer will now want to give it the strength
Yes.
to show the person going to construct it, the contractor,
Yes.
how to build it, what size of materials to use, what type of materials to use, the size of those materials, like the floor slab, what thickness, what is how much concrete, how to mix that concrete, what grade of concrete. If it is a high-rise building, like probably this one,
Yes.
you need to give it some vertical support, load support elements like columns.
Wait a minute, Engineer Mataranga. You talk about the civil engineer, then after doing it for 5 years, because our viewers wants to know more about that.
Yes.
Because I believe there's somebody who wants to be an engineer. There are children who are inspiring to be an engineer. Now, Engineer Mataranga, after all these 5 years I've spent in university doing civil engineering,
Yes.
and I feel like I'm now an engineer. They'll call me now engineer, so and so. If you don't go for other specific courses, what happened there? Are you not yet a qualified engineer?
No, actually, when you go to university and do 5-year engineering course,
Yes.
when you come out, you are supposed to register with the Engineers Board of Kenya as a graduate engineer. You are not a professional engineer at that time.
You are a graduate engineer.
A graduate engineer.
So you don't have to brag around you are a real engineer.
No, you then the board requires that you get experience working under a professional engineer
Engineers.
for 3 to 4 years for you to get requisite experience so that you can now be able to offer independent advice.
Okay.
Yes, so after that, you then apply to the engineers board for registration as a professional engineer. Yes.
That's when now we call you Engineer
exactly,
Matalanga.
So
because you are now a professional engineer.
Exactly.
After working under somebody.
Under someone, yes.
And after they confirm that you have built, you have constructed so many and none of them has collapsed.
And that you are capable of working on your own.
Yes, proceed, engineer.
Then you get registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya.
Yes.
And now you can be referred to engineer so and so. You're free to use the prefix ENG before your name.
Yes.
Then you can also now start mentoring.
ENG, yes.
Yeah, ENG. Yes. You also I can also start mentoring other young people who have just left college.
Yes.
To become registered like yourself.
Okay.
So in civil engineering, when many times you would work maybe under structural engineer for some time, and you feel, you then get experience and you will become a structural engineer.
Now, Engineer Matalanga, I want you to educate our viewers on the importance of a structural engineer on a project, because we have mentioned several engineers here, and you are specific for structural engineering. I want you to educate our viewers outside there what is a role and importance of a structural engineer on a project.
The structural engineer on a project ensures that the project or the structure, the item that is being constructed,
yes,
is done with the correct materials, with the correct strength, so that in case there is a strong wind or in case it is loaded heavily, it does not collapse.
Yes.
And then we have experiences and we have the practice. For example, if you are designing a big church, normally the churches will have a big area for people to sit under. So you're meant to design the roof to be able to be above the people without collapsing on them.
Yes.
But if you don't get an engineer, then the roof might be constructed in such a way that it is not strong enough to withstand even the weight of the sheeting, or the weight of the rain, or the weight of the force of the wind.
Yes.
So the engineer carries out calculations to ensure that the buildings are constructed, they are made strong enough to withstand the loads.
Engineer, there's something interesting there, and I need attention of Alovala. Alovala,
yes,
you told us here you are the one that know how many iron sheet has to go there.
Yes.
You are the one knows that what kind of material is needed. Engineer here is telling us that he has to approve that this is what we need for this project.
Yes.
What is happening between two of you?
There is no contradiction at all. I think here what we have is that the engineer will come and specify the roof we have, let's put on iron sheets or tiles. And he will have already designed the columns to be able to support the weight of those tiles or iron sheets. For us, once we get that specification from him or from the architect may have come up with, I want my building to be covered with the tiles. Engineer Matalanga will come and say, if you are putting on these particular tiles, they will need the support of how thick the columns are, or the beams or the slab, how thick they are. So he will be specifying the sizes. And the architect has specified the item itself, like tiles. And for him now, he knows that now that we are going to put tiles on this roof, then I need to put in how thick tumors that are in the columns and the beams.
Is the architect that measured the tiles, what needed, or the quantity surveyor that knows how many tiles are supposed to be?
The architect specifies what will be put there, tiles. The quantity surveyor now comes in, they have put their tiles, how many will they be? I do the calculation, the computation of the quantity, if I may use the simple word, the number of the tiles and how much they cost. But the architect will have said, this building I've come up with, let me put on concrete tiles or iron sheets or whichever covering they want. So after they have specified, they are not going to tell the contractor, I have specified so many the tiles, but at the same time this number. They design, they specify, and they throw it to me to compute the quantity and the numbers.
Yes, Engineer Matalanga, what
Yes,
is your
Alexis.
take on that?
No, Kiwas Alvala is quite right. His role as a quantity surveyor is to calculate and work out the quantity of the material. But we as engineers have to tell him what materials, the size. It's like you said about reinforcement, what you are calling the tumors. We shall tell him, for this area, we have 16 diameter bars at these centers. But it is him now to say, okay, there are 16.
So you tell him, this is the radius of this.
Yes.
And because of this, I need this. And this is the quality I need
Exactly.
for this one.
The type and the size.
So you
We have
advise him.
We actually do it in form of a drawing. We also draw the drawing that will be used.
Engineer, structural engineer, an architectural engineer, and quantity surveyor. They have to sit down.
We work together, yes. On a building project, we work together with an architect and a quantity surveyor. The architect, as must have been explained last time, designs the space, the form, how the item will look like.
Okay.
We design the strength of that item. The quantity surveyor works out the cost.
But
of
if I
that
decided
item.
to say I don't need Mr. Alovala because of his quantity survey, he's going to eat a lot of money. What happens?
You will have
will my building collapse?
No, it might not collapse, but
Yes.
you will have a bit of a challenge in knowing the cost of what the architect and the engineer have specified.
But
They're
I want to lock Alovala out.
But how will you know how much it's going to be? Because we might design a very expensive
But
item.
since you are the one telling Alovala that I need this kind of iron sheets,
Yes, yes.
I need these kinds of iron bars,
Yes.
I need these kinds of cement, you are
Yes.
the one who tells Alovala. So why don't you do it yourself?
No, but he has to tell you the price, because many times we don't know how much this material
Then I
costs.
go to the shop and ask for the price.
It will be a bit late. You see, the design process is interactive. When you're doing a design, you as a client, what he explained to you, when you meet him and then you brief him, that's the client brief.
Alovala, are you really important in a building project?
You leave a quantity surveyor at your own peril,
Yes.
because you run into trouble. You will run into trouble in that you will have a good design, you will have a good design from the architect and from the engineer, but you will not know how much it will cost you. First of all, you may be buying in bits and pieces, but you don't even know how much it will cost you at the end. For us, we tell you, even as you are starting, how much it will cost you at the end, so you are working towards that. Now, if you decide to do it yourself, you'll find that you will not know where even the reinforcement that Engineer Matalanga has specified, say reinforcement diameter 16, you may find that you may not now go and buy the wrong type, because you have probably left the consultants out. They are the ones to tell you, no, this one, because there are very many things that people bring on the market, some which are genuine, others which are not so genuine. So the consultants help you to tell you this, the genuine. Let me give you a good example. Even sand on a side, muchanga, the one we mix with the cement.
This one I just to go to people and sell
Exactly.
collect it and
There
then
is
go.
some.
But different quality.
There is different quality. There are
different
some with a
qualities.
lot of soil.
Yes.
So when we come and say, no, this one, remove it from me, it's not good quality. So we help
So that
you.
is your work.
Yes,
No.
the engineer will come and look at it,
confirm, yes.
and I'm just telling you how consultants working as a team, we help you come up with the best quality, best design, and the best product that you'll end up having.
Engineer Matalanga,
Yes.
proceed. I want still to know your role, your principal role on a project.
On a project.
So that I can know that I really need Engineer Matalanga. If not, I just get a fundi on the road and we start building.
Yes. For a building project, which I'm sure many viewers are interested, because one time or another you have to build your own house.
Yes.
Many of us go through it. You would require an architect to put your brief in, to give it a form, like design the spaces for you. If it's a house,
Yes.
the size of the rooms, how the rooms work, how you want to use them, where the bathrooms are. then you now want to construct. So what size of foundations? We even go to the site and find out what type of site you have, the soil on your site. Is it black cotton soil? Is it marram? Is it rock?
Yes.
So we'll then respond to the site situation. If it is black cotton soil, probably your foundations will be slightly more expensive, but at least we are able to design the building for that particular space.
Now, if an architectural engineer come up with a building like a 5-storage building,
yes,
when you go to the site and
yes,
you find that that site is not suitable for 5-storage building, what will you do? And that is the only land I have,
yes,
and I have money to put 5-storage building, but the engineer is telling me that according to this architectural structure,
yes,
this soil is not fit for this.
No, you can't say the site is not suitable for 5-story or a 50-story.
So there is no any site that you reject.
You are supposed to respond. That's why you do a different type of structure, a different type of foundation for a site that could be like in a swamp.
Whether you like it or not, it must be there.
No, you respond to the site by doing an appropriate design for that particular site. We don't have a standard design for different sites.
Okay.
Yes, the site that is rock, you'll have a different type of foundation. The site that is red soil, a different type of foundation. The site that is a swampy place, the different. I wanted to add something on the role of the quantity surveyor. During the design process, and as we try to respond to the client brief, the quantity surveyor advises the cost. So if you have a certain amount of money, you can advise the team before you even start engaging a contractor that, no, what you have given me is a bit more expensive, so can you revise it downwards? And then you can be advised, yes, I know you wanted a big size of room, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. Let us reduce it slightly to get into your budget.
Yes.
So that is now how he comes in. But without him, you will be like, as he said, you will be going into an area where you might not have sufficient money, and then the project will stall. So he's able to tell you that as you start, yes, we have done a design for you that is within your budget during the design. During construction, the architect and the engineers, we shall keep advising you on that your contractor is giving you the proper quality and using the proper quality of materials, and at each stage the kiosk will be able to value what has been constructed. Then you make payment to the contractor.
Engineer Matalanga, on that note, is there any possibility that my building that I had planned to build at a cost of 7 million can reduce to 6 million because the type of the soil that I have in the land has assisted me through the advice of engineer? Or is it the possibility that what is within my budget will not be enough because the land cannot construct what I want?
Felix, both scenarios are possible because you have a budget. If, for example, the site becomes a bit challenging, that the foundation design is a bit big, then we might end up telling you, yes, you will need more money, or we need to reduce the size of the building you have to fit within your budget. If you are lucky to be on a good site, at the initial design, of course, the kiosk will come up with a price that is slightly lower than your budget. Then you can say, at this stage, I can probably increase something or get something more or get a better quality finishes. So you see, we at whatever stage, when with the professionals, you are able to get a solution that fits within your budget, value for money.
Alvala, do you really need a structural engineer so that you can do well?
Very much so. Let me give you an example as how a structural engineer even helped us on one of the projects we did in the Rift Valley, in Nakuru specifically. We had a project, a 4-story building. Then when we excavated the ground,
yes,
we found that we could not reach hard ground because the ground is volcanic. Ash.
The ground there,
yes,
is volcanic.
Volcanic ash. So the building could not be supported properly. So the engineer now came in.
Yes.
We had come up with the column bases. A column here, column there, various bases.
Column bases. You have to make
yes,
it,
so that the building can stand on those ones. But the engineer realized that if we do that one, the building will sink into the ground. So what he decided to do, he changed.
That was advice of a structural engineer.
Yes,
Okay.
the whole team looking at it, we said that now this thing, it will collapse. So the engineer changed and came up, instead of column basis,
Yes.
we came up with another foundation called raft foundation.
Yes.
So raft foundation is a huge slab where now columns are built on that huge slab. So you find that the consultants being on a project, we are able to change midstream to help the project, so that you don't have to say that this soil cannot allow me
proceed,
to
yes.
put my building. So we are always, as Engineer Matalanga said, we are always interacting with the site, with the client, with the environment. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we need the quantity surveyor will need a structural engineer on a project seriously, because take an example, if he is not there, he will not tell me. We may come up with the column sizes which are wrong,
Yes.
or the slab of the floor slab which is wrong size, or the reinforcement, the chuma in the column and the slab which is wrong size.
Okay, we are going for a short commercial break, and once we comes back, Alvala, you are going to tell me, after you taking structures from an architectural engineer, what is your role and what is your principles to make sure that there is progress for that structure that you have taken from the engineer. You are watching Up Channel Kenya. This is Business Forum, where business matter. We are still discussing roles of professions in building industry. Remember to send in your comment, your question, anything you want to know about building. Send in your comment, send in your question. Our hashtag of Twitter is Up Channel Kenya. Facebook page is Up Channel Kenya. You'll be sending your question. Remember to send your location and where you're watching us from. We shall be coming right back after the short commercial break. Don't go away. It's Business Forum. You're still watching Up Channel Kenya, the Business Forum, where business matters. That is where we are. And we are talking the roles of professionals in building industry. Alavala,
Yes.
after you take from the architect the design, what is your role so that that design is perfectly implemented?
Thank you very much, Felix. I think I would like to educate our viewers or inform our viewers on this, that after you have given, you as the developer, or you want to put up a structure, you have given your brief,
Yes.
what we call brief. You have told the story
Yes.
to the architect that I want to put up a building, probably a huge office block of 7 stories or 100, whichever number of stories that you might be thinking of.
Yes.
He puts it into a drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Some drawings another set he'll give to a structural engineer to design, another set he'll give to electrical engineer to design the electrical bits, and so on. He'll distribute those his designs to the various consultants.
Without you, can this structure that was taken from the architect cannot be implemented without you?
So I'm going on. So you find that after he has given, he is telling these consultants, put your input into my design. In the meantime, the quantity surveyor receives these designs especially from the architect and the structural engineer,
Yes.
and we document them into a book called Bills of Quantities.
Bills of quantity.
Bills of quantities, we are translating a drawing into we describe. Let me use the simplest one of the simplest of
Can I
them
use
all.
simple language because our viewers want
yes.
to understand into details.
Yes, Felix, this building of Felix provide supply and fix 45 millimeter thick solid core door. size this and that.
Yes.
Because I've looked at the drawing, I've now extracted the size and the quality as specified. I put there the number and the units, so that after I've done so many of these, it will be done for concrete, it will be done for roof, it will be done for the finishes, everything that has been designed. After I have done that one, it comes into a book form. We call it bills of quantities.
Yes.
It is the document that you, as the developer, wants to go and use it.
A very big document.
Yes, to go and do tender.
Okay.
You are not taking the drawings to the contractors to bid. You are actually using this bill of quantities for bidding. So after it has been, of course, in some tenders you take both the drawings and the bill of quantities, but then it is done. So
Yes.
I'll also get the details from the structural engineer who has specified the size of the columns, the size of the beams and the roof and the foundation. He has specified it. I use it into converting it into bills of quantities.
Alivala.
Yes.
Many believe that quantity surveyors increase their prices of the building, and this comes when the developer has estimated. Why do you people do that? The developer has estimated that this building is going to cost this.
Yes.
Because you are a quantity surveyor, you use another Kiswahili.
Yes.
There's a way you will do it to koroga hapo. Saying, you see now, this you are building of 7 million, it will not be 7 million. We have to make it to 7.5. Why do you do that?
Now, consultants
Honestly, why?
Consultants don't increase the cost of the building. That is a misconception, and it is common to very many people. Consultants.
But I hear you people, you increase.
Yes, that one is misconception. That's what I'm saying, it's misconception. What we do,
Yes.
we advise. As Engineer Matalanga told you, what we do, the bills of quantities, after we have made the bills of quantities, we price it to advise you, telling you, Developer Felix, your project is bound to cost you in this range. So look for the amount of money in this range.
Yes.
If it is 7 million, if it is 20 million, so you start looking for that 20 million.
So you just advise, you don't...
We don't advise. The advice we give you is what we call the estimate for that particular project. But the people who will give you the actual cost will be the contractors, the bidders, the people who will receive the bill of quantities and price. So, but you see, when they price, the figure should come approximately our estimate. So we shall have already advised you. So in essence, you will not be shocked when a bill, the cost of 20 million comes from the bidders. So the competition among the contractors will make it either less or around there, depending on the profit margins they
One
put
of
in.
our viewers asked Engineer Matalanga, he wants to know what is the difference between architectural engineer and structural engineer. Actually, specific, he wants to know architectural engineer and architect. So, do we have architectural engineer in Kenya, or do we have architect? Which one is which?
Thanks, Felix. I think the viewer is quite right to seek clarification. In Kenya, we don't have architectural engineer.
So that one is cancelled.
That's cancelled. What we
My
have?
viewer, architectural engineers in Kenya, we don't have it. Which one do we have?
We have an architect and we have an engineer. I explained earlier that engineer is now, there are many engineers. There is, as he said, a civil engineer,
Yes.
structural engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, aeronautical engineer. There are many engineers and they do different things. The civil engineer, as I said, will design the strength of buildings. They will also design, like highway engineers, they will design roads. Water engineers will design dams and water schemes.
Yeah.
There is even public health engineers. They will do things to structures to respond to public health matters.
Yes.
So if you want to do architectural engineer in Kenya, we don't have the legal framework for it. What we have is just an architect.
You're working
who's
on that?
full scope.
The associations are working on that.
As a developing country, definitely we hope to get there,
So that
and we hope to get more specialized. And but we at the moment our level of development.
Okay.
We are not.
Thank you for that clarification, Engineer Matalanga.
Yes.
Now it has been said that you as engineers are to be blamed for the collapsing of buildings.
Yes.
You hear that for a number of occasions, building has been collapsing in this country.
Yes.
It's becoming a very big challenge to us. And people are blaming you, the engineers, especially the structural engineers. You people are being accused to be responsible for all these buildings that are collapsing and are killing innocent citizens of these nations. You people are putting our life at risk. Why?
No, Felix, that's a very good question, and I think it is very good that you have actually asked this. The buildings that collapse, when I have many times been to those sites, the buildings that collapse, unfortunately, I have gone to see after the collapse has happened.
You have been visiting those sites?
Yes, we have tried to keep up.
Now tell us, what are the problems?
Yeah, the main problem is that the buildings collapse because the developers don't employ engineers. They want to do it thinking it is cheap. So they use cheaper materials, they use substandard materials, they use small size elements. Maybe no engineer has advised them.
Yes.
If you quote for me, and we have data on this, the collapses that have happened, 95% of them did not even have an engineer. In Kenya, all engineers are registered, and as I explained earlier, the list is available with the Engineers Board of Kenya. So if you go to that site, you should ask who is the engineer, what is his registration number, and the county governments are working very well nowadays, because before you start doing any construction, you are asked to get your drawings approved.
Yes.
And before you start construction, you put a site construction board, and on that board you display the names of your professionals. On many of these areas where the buildings have collapsed, most of them don't even have the construction board. So if you go to a site, you see something happening and there is no construction board, you are not able to tell the professionals it's a disaster waiting. It could be a collapse.
You are claiming those buildings were without any engineer.
They are without any qualified engineers.
So who are those buildings? Because they build, we see everything, good to go. Who are those buildings then?
No, what you see good to go has not collapsed.
Put the structures and make sure the structures are up.
Yes.
There were people who have gone to school.
Unfortunately,
who are those? How do you call those?
There are also very many buildings that have been done properly, and they are good to go the way you are saying.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the ones that are collapsed are not good to go because they have collapsed.
Yes.
And you asked me about collapsing buildings. The collapsing buildings are collapsing because you can say, and I'm very sure that professionals are not involved in these buildings. Because if you have an architect, he will advise you, value for your money.
Yes.
Let me seek professional advice from an engineer, and he'll ensure that your building or your construction is engineered. Because you get value for money. Whatever you are paying for is to the correct standard, the correct quality. Even the way it looks, you will see, you have pictures of what has been done with a professional input and what has been done with a quack.
Alfred,
yes,
is it because so many people have got this mentality of I go to the street and I pick a fundi, I pick an architect's design, and we start the building. Is it one of the problem that is also costing this kind of building collapsing?
Yeah, thank you, Felix. That is one of them.
Yes.
That's one of them whereby people just get designs which are not proper. However, these days, as Engineer Matalanga has said, there is heavy control. There is heavy control whereby you have to have your design approved. You have to have your design approved by the county government. Then, if you get one, then it has to be, and the approved, the signature of whoever the engineer and the architect must be there on those drawings. What I know, to add on what Matalanga has said, sometimes it may be designed properly by an architect and an engineer.
Yes.
Properly. But then the clients halfway they say, I don't want you to supervise, I'll just get Mr. Kamau or Onyango who did for for Aluvala on that particular project to come and do mine. But then when that fundi comes, he's not telling you, mzee, angalia, ameweka chuma kubwa. This is going to cost you a lot of money. Let's adjust. Let's just use this. So now you find that they have now what Engineer Matalanga put in recommended use diameter 20. The man says now let's just use 12. It will be okay. We used 12 on Alvalas, but not this one. This man is just wanting you to use a lot of money. So you end up now reducing on what had been specified.
That is the reason that you people increased money now comes from.
Now that is now where they say that let's not supervise a project where you design and then you reach a point and then you tell consultants, stop here. Let me supervise it myself. Now, supervision is even more important than design because now that is where action is. You need the consultants to come and see, are they doing what we said it should be done? So now, if you get a fundi to come and now change things which a whole engineer put in to thinking and calculating, and then they change the quality, the building is bound to collapse.
So all this has been happening because of lacks of quality professional on those projects.
In many cases, clients themselves tell the consultants, you stop here, I pay you, you go away, I'll now do it myself. Then you find the building collapsing in some cases. So you see now the engineer is not involved. Others, they don't involve the consultants right from the beginning.
This is collapse. Business forum. Has it affected the building industry, the business industry of the building in any way or the other because building has been collapsing? Have you people realized any challenge and so on?
Yes, the first sorry Felix, the first collapse really helped when the building collapsed and the people who were injured took, that time it was the City Council of Nairobi, the relatives of people who had died went and asked for compensation. That's when the county government
ask for compensation?
From the county government, because the county government is the one that is responsible to monitor construction to ensure things are done properly. So you as a developer, when you don't get requisite approval, you start building and the county government doesn't come to stop you, but to ensure that you are doing the right thing, then they become responsible. Now that changed after the collapse at Nyamakima. The county governments and the Nairobi City Council then required that developers... Huruma, yes, but the first one was Nyamakima. When it collapsed, the county government and after the formation of the devolution, from my knowledge, all county governments require that developers who want to start construction indemnify the county government.
Yes.
That in case the collapse was to happen, the developer will be responsible. And they require that you then employ a qualified architect and a qualified engineer and a qualified contractor. So the names of qualified architects are with the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors.
Yes.
The names of qualified engineers are with the Engineers Board of Kenya. The names of qualified contractors are with the National Construction Authority.
Yes.
So you should be registered there in the proper category. Then you sign a form at the beginning of construction when your drawings are being approved by the county government, that you will maintain these professionals to ensure that whatever is done on your site does not collapse. Anytime that you sack any of the professionals that you have registered, it is that professional's duty to write to the county government and informing them that they are no longer involved in your projects and therefore you are required to get a competent replacement for them.
Quantity surveyors, do they also contribute to this problem of building collapsing? Have you people in any way you appeared there to be one of the problems?
Not really, but if one of us as quantity surveyors were to specify, to go contrary to what the engineer has specified. Take an example. If the engineer has said we shall have this floor that people will be, if it's first floor, the floor should be suspended slab is say 125 millimeter thick, and for me I specify 100 and the contractor does 100. You see, then I have contributed to such an extent. It's very rare. It's rare for a quantity surveyor to give wrong specification as opposed to what has been specified.
Engineer Matalanga, what should the professional association do to help and solve this problem of this building collapsing every day and then once for all? What should the associations do to help us?
The role of professional associations is very clear. First, we as professionals come together to address issues that deal with our professional matters,
Yes.
and this is one of them.
Yes.
So to lobby the county government or the central government to ensure that proper legislation is put in place to stop developers doing things that are not to the proper quality.
Yes.
To also to ensure that the professionals that are involved in this are properly remunerated, because there are some professionals that work in the private sector, and there are also those professionals that work in the public sector. Those professionals in the public sector should be also properly remunerated, and all the public sectors should also, we should lobby the government that they are employed. You see, if you are submitting drawings to the county government for approval, and then they have their own oversight team that oversees construction.
Now, there's something I want you also to give a clarification on that note. How do I know this is a qualified engineer? How do I know this is a qualified quantity surveyor? How can somebody have that? Is there a way we access those informations?
Yes, the information is available. It is in the public domain. I already explained that the list of registered professionals in the construction industry,
Yes.
starting from an architect. The list of registered architects, those ones qualified to provide service in Kenya, is available with the Architects and Quantity Surveyors Registration Board. They are headquartered at the Ministry of Public Works.
Yes.
The list is there. They have even a website. That list is available online.
Yes.
The list of qualified and professional engineers is also available at the Engineers Board of Kenya. It's also available online. If you can also get it from the Transcom House. They have an office there.
Okay.
The list of contractors is available with the National Construction Authority with the different grades. If it's a bigger project, you need a higher registration. If it's a smaller project, they also have the lower categories that can do it for you.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Alavala, you know, we don't have much time. If we had much time, we would have discussed so much. As the principal quantity surveyor in Miriadi Consultants, you're also a senior quantity surveyor in Kenya and in Architectural Association of Kenya. Explain to the viewers the process taken once consultants are in place and the project has started. Wow, what are the process?
Once
In 1 minute.
Yes, once a project has started, we now do what we call management. We supervise. We go to the site. We ensure that as a quantity surveyor, speaking for quantity surveyors, you'll find that a quantity surveyor will now go and look at the scope of work done. We specify and issue evaluation for the client to pay. We
Yes.
also continue to look into what we call variations. Suppose you as the developer, you have come up and you have made changes. I don't want this door, I don't want these tiles, change this one, put this one. We advise you the various changes in costs and advise you whether it is high or lower. And then at the end, the very end, we do what we call a final account. A final account is now when we summarize all the work that has done, and then we tell you it. We told you at the beginning it will be 20 million. Because of the changes that you requested, it has actually reached 21 or it has come to 19 million, whichever.
Okay. Engineer Matalanga, as a very senior structural engineer, and you're also running Ngashi Engineering Firm, and you're also a senior engineer in AAK, and within the Institute of Engineers of Kenya, that is IEK.
IEK, yes.
Yes, and what role do you play as the project progress? What will be your roles? I want you to give me that in summary in only 1 minute because we don't have much time.
Thank you very much,
And
Felix.
also you will tell me how you people are regulated and what can be done if an engineer done something silly, which is not what we wanted them to do. What are the professional conduct and what are the penalties?
Yeah. Thank you very
1
much.
minute.
Yes, yeah. For a building project, it is very clear.
Yes.
We would have done the feasibility studies, we would have done the drawings, everything will have been measured, the bill of quantities will have been prepared by the quantity surveyor, the contractors will have already been invited and tendered. Now the client or the developer has already decided this is the contractor going to do the work for me.
Yes.
He's been handed over the site and he starts. So our role is to confirm that what the contractor is doing
Yes.
is what we have in our drawings and specifications. So we confirm that the excavations and the foundations are placed to the right depth that we checked during the design the design process.
Yes.
We also would like to confirm that the contractor that is using the proper materials, the contractor has the proper trained personnel that he is purported during the tender period.
Yes.
That he has the proper site staff and that he's able to understand and read our drawings and is doing the correct thing. We inspect the site regularly.
Yes.
To ensure that things are being done and the contractor is working in accordance to our drawings and the specifications. And majorly, like before major works like covering reinforcement is done, we actually go and count and ensure that whatever is on our drawing is what is on site. The thickness of slabs is adhered to, and the contractor is following our drawings. Now you asked about how we are regulated. Already
Yes.
mentioned that we are regulated by the Engineers Board of Kenya, and if an engineer regulated by the Board of Kenya has a problem, the people who could reprimand him is the board, the Engineers Board of Kenya.
Yes.
They have the chairman, they have registrar, they have board members, and I think they are doing a good job. You have seen even if a university is not offering the proper syllabus to teaching engineers,
Yes.
I'm sure the viewers are aware that that program has to be certified by the Engineers Board of Kenya.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You have been watching the Business Forum together with my friends. I had Engineer Matalanga of Ngesha Engineering, Consulting Engineering.
Yes.
I have Mr. Alfred Alovala. He's also a CEO of Miradi Consultants. Our viewers, you are watching Hope Channel Kenya. The program was Business Forum, where business matters. Remember to keep on sending your comments, everything that you want to know about. We are still discussing roles of professionals in building industry. Keep sending your question, keep sending your comment. We shall be sampling all your comments and we shall be answering all your questions that you have. Anything you want to know about building, we shall be answering everything. This is Business Forum, where business matters. Remember to send your location, your name, and where you're watching us from. Hope Channel Kenya, don't change your channel, because there are several and a marvelous program that will be coming right away after this. Don't change your channel. Business Forum, we shall be giving you more and any more. Thank you.